Aurora Australis, Tahunui Arangi, the campfires of the ancestors lighting the sky. These are the southern lights which feature in the Southland skies. This is the inspiration for round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Round 2 of the championship, South Canterbury Rally had seen the return of defending New Zealand Rally champ Hayden Paddon in his Hyundai i20N. Paddon made a solid start to the season, taking the rally win. Behind him, Otago winner Jack Hawkeswood crashed out in the morning, leaving Ben Hunt and Robbie Stokes to battle for the podium. Positions swapped through the day, but in the end, Stokes took second by less than a second after a nail-biting moment on the final stage.
We've got only 100 metres to go, Robbie.
So after 2 rounds, it's Robbie Stokes holding a 4-point lead over Ben Hunt. Jack Hawkeswood still third, but 15 points further back, just ahead of Emma Gilmore and Zeel Jones. Dylan Thompson in 6th, the first of the two-wheel drives, but look at Hayden Paddon, still 31 points off the lead in 7th.
It's been 20 years since the New Zealand Rally Championship visited the roads of Southland, but in a deal put together with backing from Southland businesses, the event returns, using many of the stages made famous in past Southland events and featuring 2 stages run in the dark. The event opened with a ceremonial start at the iconic Bill Richardson Transport World in Invercargill.
Fabulous facility you've got here, mate. What a place to kick off a rally.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I mean, got some great things in Invercargill. Invercargill's got the word CAR in it as part of its name. So let's make sure we do really cool motoring things. We've got a really cool museum. What a great place to go and have an indoor start, which hasn't been done before, surrounded by great automotive treasures. Here we are.
Ben Hunt, new rally, Southern Lights rally. What have you made of what you've seen on recce today?
Oh, the roads are bloody fast. Adding the night stages in tonight and tomorrow morning is awesome because that adds in a whole other element to it. And yeah, you know, some people might not be as fast as they are during the daytime or vice versa.
There's a few twisty stages in there as well that are real driver rally stages. Like the stages that they've picked for this rally are just incredible. I just can't wait to get out there.
I mean, so cool to be back down here. The stages are so awesome, so different. Yeah, really, it's really cool. I've been blessed with good weather so far. So yeah, touch wood. But yeah, it's awesome to be down here. They've done a great job promoting the event and stuff, so very exciting.
We're still early on in the season, you know, and one bad rally's hasn't hindered us too badly, but it's always a bit easier to sort of hold a lead than it is to chase a lead. But yeah, no, that's just how the sport is, and you know, we just roll with it.
Just how different is it with these modern generation cars? Like, obviously there was a lot of rallying done back in the day at night, but now the cars, they move around a lot, the braking, the acceleration, they're squatting and diving and all that sort of stuff. How tricky does that make it with setting up the lights?
Yeah, it makes it almost impossible to get them perfect because they're always sometimes a little bit too high when you're under acceleration or a little bit too low in the braking. So that's where it comes down to pace notes. You know, I find at night I have to put a lot more information to the notes than what I do in daytime because you're going to see things in a different way. So you just got to adjust many different things. It's not just the lights, it's pace notes, how you drive, and so yeah, it's good. I love it.
10 stages starting with Pebbly Hills Forest on Friday night. Then on Saturday morning, pre-dawn, a monster 46-kilometre stage, a flat-out blast in the dark to open the day. Stage 1 has a reputation as stage to be respected, Blair Bartels.
Absolutely, the infamous Pebbly Hills Forest stage. Lots of surface changes, the competitors will be relieved, it's just the main arterial routes this year.
If Paddon wants to win another New Zealand Rally title, he has to take maximum points from every event now, so preparation and planning are key.
And you may have seen in the earlier shots just how many lights there were on the front of the car. Hayden knows plenty about running at night. In the European Championship, they run a lot of the early publicity stages in the evening.
A spectacular scene for the spectators who have braved the cool but clear conditions here. Paddon sets the pace at 5 minutes 52. Ben Hunt next through the stage, and a rally stage at night adds so many variables to a driver's performance.
Immediately you can see just how much light Ben's car's putting out before we've started. Unfortunately, with it being a short stage, he's gambled on a second-hand tyre, and it hasn't worked out for him.
Hunt losing 27 seconds to Paddon, but erring on the conservative side does mean the car is in one piece and ready to tackle the Saturday stages. With a championship points lead to defend, Robbie Stokes knows that he has to put pressure on Paddon and Hunt.
And this is uncharted territory for Robbie. He's never led the championship before, and he needs to make sure that he keeps doing what he's doing because it's obviously working. And as we go to the Transport World drone now, you can see just how inch perfect they are.
A time of 6 minutes 9 would put Stokes into second. Jack Hawkswood leaving Timaru with just power stage points, so a lot to make up here even on this first stage.
And a great shot there of the variety of lights. You need some to go up the road, some to spread into the corners.
Time for Hawkswood, 6 minutes 32.2. Not quick, but at least he is safely through for the night. Co-driver change for Emma Gilmore, just one more bit of pressure to add to the stage.
And Emma's got Ben Searcy back in the car. They worked together years ago. And having that confidence in a past relationship being rekindled means that she can really focus on developing her driving to the car.
Into 6 right.
Emma 5 seconds quicker than Hawkswood, but it was Zeal Jones who would slot into 4th place. Maybe younger eyes seeing better in the dark, BB.
There's definitely something in that, but Zeal's always got a fantastic attitude where he doesn't narrow his mind down and keeps himself open for whatever the challenge might be.
Check out the onboard from Bryn Jones' two-wheel drive Rally 4 Fiesta.
You can hear that car just scrambling for traction, but this is why these cars are such good training ground. They teach the drivers to keep the momentum up so that they're not trying to build the speed all the time.
7 right minus 100.
It was Jack Stokes who made the most in conditions and was fastest of the Fiestas.
And in this car, which doesn't have the turbo of his rivals, this is a real statement to start the event.
Long crest 200.
Tim Mackesy just 8.4 seconds behind to be second, beating both of the newer Rally 4 cars.
So as the teams head off to get some sleep, it's Paddon holding the lead over Stokes, Hunt, Zeal Jones an impressive 4th ahead of Gilmore, Hawkswood, Stewie Reid and Andy Martin. And in the two-wheel drives, confirming that impressive start for Jack Stokes, ahead of Tim Mackesy, Bryn Jones and uncharacteristically championship leader Dylan Thompson hanging back and forth.
So a new dawn and a new day. Well, not quite for the leading cars who would compete in the 46-kilometre long Benmore stage entirely in the dark.
Flat 6 left opens 80. Long flat 7 left opens, links 80. Mat 7 left 300.
A spectator spot lit up for the hardy fans who have been arriving since 6 a.m. As Paddon's lights pierce the morning sky, everyone is truly grateful for the clear, mild weather that Southland is experiencing today.
And I think so many people have memories of the last time the championship visited, the sleet, the snow. Beautiful conditions today and black ice won't be a factor.
46 kilometres at speeds approaching 200 k's an hour, so the finish line will be a welcome sight.
Just stop. I'm not going to get 19. No.
19 minutes 3.1 with an average speed of 145 kilometres per hour.
Yeah, it's really tough in the dark. What we saw in Ricky when it's daytime to what you see at night time is completely different, all these little crests, and it's really difficult for the pace note. So, yeah, drove like a blouse, but it's probably the same for everybody as well. So, yeah, just a nice clean start.
Ben Hunt's Skoda Fabia Rally 2 is geared to suit twisty and technical stages where acceleration is key rather than top-end speed. Knew he'd be at a disadvantage here, but could make time up later in the day.
And all these cars have different characteristics that across the season make it an incredibly equal fight.
19 minutes 55 for Hunt. That's a loss of over a second a K on the Hyundai AP4.
Yeah, it's just frustrating going through there, knowing that how much time you're bleeding to an AP4 car. So, yeah, it is what it is, and hopefully 4, 5, 6 and 7 will suit this car a bit better, so we might be able to make back what we've lost in there.
So in theory, that should be good news for championship leader Robbie Stokes in his
4,
AP4 Fiesta.
3, 2, 1, go. 70, 6 left maybe, 80. Flat 7 left, 80. Max 7 left, 350.
You can see here, big, long, fast bits of road. Fantastic fun for the drivers, but they can be really hard on the engines and drivetrains.
Stokes made it through the stage, but in the last K, the gearbox would not engage. He posted second fastest time of 19 minutes 41, but approaching the control, the car again refused to select a gear. Jack Hawkswood losing time to Stokes through this long stage, but would finish the stage 4th overall, making up 2 places.
And note here how red those brake discs are, which we see at night, but also how long they're staying red. Just shows Jack maybe doesn't have the confidence of these top guys. And those little confidence taps are just cooking the brakes.
Emma Gilmore held 5th position, but her challenge now was to keep ahead of Zeal Jones in 6th, both posting very similar times.
And you can see here how early Emma's on the brakes and how the car's almost struggling to pull up. With those big bright red discs, it suggests those brakes are already very hot. Then becomes a game of diminishing returns. The longer you're on the brakes, the worse they get. The longer you need to be on the brakes, the worse they get again.
4 left, plus.
Oh, sorry.
Long, times 4 here.
Tricky in a few moments, but yeah, happy to be out. It was, yeah, very tricky at the night time.
Being the youngest of the NZRC Category 1 drivers, it's no surprise that much of what Zeal Jones faces is a new experience. 2 stages in the dark just to start with. Jones would drop from 4th to 6th, but he was just 3 seconds adrift of Gilmore.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I enjoyed that one. It was pockets of dust, and I was just really cautious. I'm a little bit frustrated, but yeah, it's a long day, and yeah, just head forward for the rest of the day.
Stuart Reid holding on to 7th ahead of Nelson Law and Andy Martin.
Fantastic to see Stu leading this tight battle pack, including a couple of our international drivers.
That's a great way to wake the day up. I loved it. We adjusted the lights, so the lights were much better. Bill did a superb job on the notes. Steady, but enjoyed it. It was good fun.
Law moved into 8th on the stage, while Martin slipped to 9th.
Narrow. 3 right. 3 right. Here. 60. Flat bridge. Flat 5 right. 350 over Kink, over Crest.
It was dreadful, mate. We could only see about bloody 10 metres in front of us, and every time we hit the brakes, mate, we couldn't see the corner, so just had to drive for the lights, but it was shocking, really. But anyway, we're here.
In the Fiesta battle, Dylan Thompson pushed hard despite not being confident in the dark. He would move from 4th to 2nd on the stage despite a visit through a gate in the stage.
Sharp, off cam 80. And 5 left minus, narrow, 100. Don't cut, 6 left minus.
Lucky the farmer left the gate open this morning.
Was that your 5 left don't cut closed? No, that was your 5 left narrow.
That could have been rally over.
don't cut, 6 left minus, 200.
But Jack Stokes was not relinquishing his lead and won the stage again to keep a 16-second lead over Thompson.
Long 7 left, don't 15.
And here you see one of the real challenges of night rallying.
I can't see.
The air gets still, the dust comes up.
Right. 7 left, 100.
It's a tricky
Long
thing
6
not just
left,
for the driver but the
60.
co-driver. You see how quickly they work together to find their place in the notes again.
6 left into short, 6 right down.
Tim Mackesy still managing to stay ahead of Bryn Jones. This was turning into his best run all season. In fourth, Bryn Jones was held up by an all-comers competitor in the stage, but still only 53 seconds behind Stokes, so this class is still wide open with 8 stages to run.
And that's a graphic shot of just how much that problem compounds when you're catching a car.
Coming up, it's the first of our feature stages as the cars rally to the morning light on the Southern Lights Rally. Welcome back to the Transport World Southern Lights Rally, round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. After a short service, the cars are back on the stages in the daylight. Our feature stage of the morning is stage 3, Forest Hill, and after the 46 kilometres in the dark, this one is just 7.8 k's long. Having set up his lead, Padden now just has to keep the competition at bay. Just look at the conditions, rock hard, no gravel on top, and plenty of spectators, BB.
And you can also see, look at the way he moves the car around at such high speed with relative ease. It's that kind of thing that really sets him apart from the field.
Ben Hunt changed tyres and service, going from the super softs to the soft for this run of stages.
And it's been one of the big changes for teams moving to the MRF control tyre. They've just got 2 compounds. No different widths, no different tread patterns, just compounds. But you see there the sunstrike. It's a unique challenge of the Southern Lights Rally, where the sun's coming up later in the day and lower.
And the finish of the stage, just as spectacular, Hunt 3 minutes 41.5. Robbie Stokes holding second for now, needs to keep pace with Hunt. Good news is the gearbox is working.
And the team changed the gearbox oil and bled the clutch fluid at the previous service. For them, it would have been a real fright at the end of stage 2.
Robbie 5.5 seconds slower, but still holding second place. Jack Hawkswood in fourth, but his time on the stage just half a second faster than Hunt.
So clearly Jack more comfortable in the daylight, but as you're about to see, he's struggling with that sunstrike too.
Emma Gilmore's crew had bled the brakes in service, the Citroen now back on the pace.
And she'll just get the rev limiter here. Just getting the most out of the car.
A top 5 finish here would be a big achievement for 19-year-old Jones, but a fuel pressure warning light had him and car owner Waverley Jones worried.
It's those little things in the car that you just don't need. They distract you from the maximum concentration required to be on the limit.
Fair to say that Stuart Reid was happy to put the dark stages behind him and get to grips with these conditions.
And you can see he's really getting comfortable with the AP4 Mirage here. It's great to have Stuart coming from Australia to rally in New Zealand. It's also fantastic to see him giving an opportunity to young co-driver Bella Haggerty. We've got one of the older drivers in the field and the youngest.
160.
Nelson Law in the Force AP4 Mazda having his own battle with Andy Martin, and again it was the AP4's car with its faster speed that was prevailing.
And great to see another of our international visitors, Nelson over from Vanuatu, in only a second outing in this car. The second part of that battle was Andy Martin. He'd battled through the night stages and looked forward to getting out in the daytime.
Turn right. 250.
But things like that don't help.
Long flag crest.
In the NZRC two-wheel drive battle, Dylan Thompson was gaining ground with a stage win here.
And as the older statesman of the group, Dylan wasn't so comfortable in the night time, but he's back in the daylight and back where he wants to be.
Jack Stokes was holding his lead despite losing 9 seconds to Thompson on the stage.
For Jack now, it's about trying to keep that advantage for as long as he can. This car's down on power to the turbo cars.
7 left minus 80.
Although on these fast-flowing roads, it's about keeping up that momentum, and he's doing a great job.
6 left 80.
Bryn Jones trying to make up ground after the night stages. He was 0.6 of a second faster than Stokes, but still trailed Tim Mackesy in 4th place. Mackesy had a handy 6-second buffer over Jones, but the challenge would come over the next 2 stages. A bird's eye view of stage 4 thanks to the Transport World drone.
And as we go both inside and outside with Hayden Padden here, you can see just the effect of that single lane bridge right before the braking point. It was still really tricky to get that car slowed down. You see how much Hayden was working the car there to keep it under control and get it slowed for the junction.
Ben Hunt continuing to pressure Robbie Stokes here.
And Ben's identified this as the start of a group of stages that should really suit him and the car. It's important that he maximises these to claw back that deficit to Robbie. They're fighting for a championship.
Robbie Stokes left his gloves on the car roof in control, and Sister Amy had to refocus him at the start. He cop a fine for that, but set off anyway. Stokes flying here, but lucky to get away with this at the next corner.
Turn tidy, 2 left, 60.
But the same corner catching out Jack Hawkswood.
But he's the first one we've seen back on the gas. Now he's stalled the car. Unfortunately, when the cars get hot, they can get really hard to start. You actually hear Jack here cycle the power off and back on again to get it started.
But this was the stage that Dylan Thompson would take the Rally 2 lead, taking 15 seconds out of Jack Stokes with an advantage of 7.3 seconds.
And there's a graphic example of just how much Dylan does not like being beaten.
So at Service 2, it's Padden with a healthy lead over Robbie Stokes. Hunt in 3rd, closing the gap to 5.9 seconds. In 2-wheel drive, Thompson now 16 seconds ahead of Stokes, then Jones and Mackesy.
Heading to the Winton service, fast was a word on everyone's lips. Hayden, a fast and furious start to the morning.
Yeah, very fast stages, particularly the first stage this morning and the night. Was a bit hairy in places on 1 pass notes and being such a fast stage, but it was a nice challenge, so yeah, we'll just keep it in the middle of the road and enjoying it.
3-time national champion Neil Allport on hand to give some advice to Ben Hunt.
A topsy-turvy morning, but big battle now for second place between yourself and Robbie.
Yeah, it's had to just try and maintain the gap there. It was very, very fast stages, but really looking forward to the next few. They're a lot more technical than earlier on, so we'll have a bit of a push, and we have been reeling a little bit time on Robbie, so hopefully we can just get him in these next few.
We had a bit of a battle in the dark this morning, but that was sort of to be expected. Yeah, second stage this morning was real good, but yeah, we had a small problem with the car and the at stage 4 there, and it cut out on us. Couldn't get it to go again. We lost a bit of time there, but the stage just has been really good. So yeah, we'll just keep soldiering on and try and pop some points in the power stage.
Coming up, a dramatic day for the Rally Challenge competitors on the Southland stages. Welcome back to the Transport World Southern Lights Rally, round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship and round 3 of the New Zealand Rally Challenge. Andrew Graves was seated first in the challenge. The Gore driver had a new gearbox after damaging his one in round 2.
And he set fantastic pace across the first 2 rounds. Lucky all he damaged there was the rope for our MRF tyres sign.
Caleb McDonald had made a strong start in the dark stages in his Evo 6, although a misjudged junction in stage 2 meant he would compete the morning stages without a rear wing, but lucky to still be in the event. Carter Strang lost time to McDonald in the night stages, but held third.
And this is very much Carter's home rally. The rally pretty much goes past his front doorstep later in the day.
Mark McMillan was holding fourth, but misjudged this corner on special stage 4 and was stuck in the wet grass, losing 7 minutes.
Jesus, we should have broken that brick, right?
Couldn't have put it better myself, Mark. It's a shame because that was a really strong run. He was 4th fastest outright and won the challenge on the stage before.
In 4th, James McDonald was the first of the Subaru H6 runners. Paul Cross, the only other H6 driver to compete here, in 5th.
Paul, another one of the local drivers, and one that actually knows what he was coming into before this event started.
It's fair to say Brian Green had not enjoyed the night stages, but here in the daylight, he was neck and neck with Cross on stage times through the morning.
And after a wretched start to the championship, it's great to see Greenie getting some miles back under his belt, getting some confidence and getting back to that pace that we know he has.
Graves would continue with a comfortable lead through the afternoon. BB, it's worth noting that he was also in the top 6 overall in the rally.
Well, we even joked at the start of Transport World that car should be in the museum. It's that old now, almost 30 years old. It's a fantastic performance to see him taking it to these new generation rally cars.
Mark McMillan salvaged some pride and 5 points by winning the power stage. That time lost on stage 4 was just too much to overhaul.
100.
And it was a real shame. He would have been right in contention without that mistake.
6 left plus small crest, long 5 right plus 60.
So it was Caleb McDonald who had finished 2nd in the class. Carter Strang holding 3rd despite pressure through the afternoon from James McDonald.
And right throughout the season, Carter and Caleb have swapped 2nd and 3rd position. They're really building themselves into strong championship positions.
McDonald narrowed the gap to 21 seconds by the finish.
And that's a meritorious performance. Remember, this car has got 6 cylinders but no turbo. It's down on power.
5th place for Paul Cross. And Brian Green finishing 6th in his Evo 9. Just 2 drivers competing for the Rally Challenge 2-wheel drive class. Jared Parker in his Corolla was the favourite, but got stuck behind another car in the dark stage on Saturday morning.
900. Turn the spotties. Give me spotties. Turn them on and off.
But after the service, Parker was able to attack the stages, having a huge battle with some of the all-comer Ford Escorts and finishing a credible 30th overall in the rally. Pat Norris finishing runner-up. Unfortunately, the tiny 1300cc Toyota Yaris just outpaced on these fast southern roads.
So confirming Andrew Graves taking the win ahead of Caleb McDonald and Carter Strang. James McDonald first of the Group A Challenge cars in 4th ahead of Paul Cross and Brian Green. Mark McMillan coming home 7th. In the 2-wheel drives, Jared Parker with a solid win over Pat Norris.
Andrew, nice to come back home to this rally, right?
Yeah, it's really good to be here. It's really good to have a car that's really reliable and it's the fast roads, unbelievable. Yeah, really good.
A little too fast on stage 3. Tell us what happened.
Stage 3, yeah, running a little bit wide, and then I couldn't get it back to the road, and I saw a gap between a power pole and a giveaway sign. I thought, wow, we'll see if we can fit through there and carry on. So, and it worked out all right. It's good.
So, confirming Carter Strang with a 1-point lead over Caleb McDonald. Andrew Graves in third, not too far back. Then James McDonald, Paul Cross, Mark McMillan, and the two-wheel drives of Jared Parker and Pat Norris.
5 cars competing in the two-wheel drive class. Dave Strong certainly the favourite in his powerful mid-engined Honda Special. But he had a close call on stage 1 when his lights failed at the start. With his lights repaired, Strong was able to push much harder in the morning. Willie Hawes picked up a penalty on stage 2 for speeding through the virtual chicanes, so now 52 seconds adrift.
And those virtual chicanes are put in place to bring the average speed down in the name of safety. Competitors just have to drop down to a nominated speed and then they're free to go again.
Murray Percival lost time with an electrical fault on Friday and a loose gear stick on Saturday morning. In the historic escort, Paul Fraser was just a second ahead of Hawes and fastest in that class.
It's great to see the proper historic cars out there as they used to run in the day. And a BDA escort was definitely a sight that would have been seen on Southland rallies of days gone past.
Mike and Helen Cameron had survived the night, but the faithful Mitsubishi Lancer was running out of speed on the long, fast straights here.
In the little 1600, she's all tapped out at 160 kilometres an hour.
Dave Strong pulled clear of the competition over the afternoon stages, although the gap remained at 90 seconds to Hawes. Hawes was fastest of the two-wheel drives on stage 6, and over the remaining stages was able to cement second place. Paul Fraser in his historic escort repeated his success from round 1 and 2, finishing third in this group and first in the historics. Mike Cameron finishing fourth in this group, another solid performance from the oldest car in the championship. Those issues early in the rally, too much for Murray Percival to recover from, but fifth place still good for championship points.
So Dave Strong topping the two-wheel drive standings ahead of Willie Hawes and Murray Percival. Paul Fraser the first of the historics ahead of Mike Cameron.
Battle for honours in the NZRC two-wheel drive cars. Dylan Thompson held a narrow lead over Jack Stokes through the afternoon stages. Thompson was able to claim victory in the power stage for 5 points. But Stokes stuck with him, keeping the margins on each stage to seconds.
And there's only one way that Jack and the non-turbo car can keep up with these other guys. It's with absolute commitment.
80, 7 right 150, long crest 180.
Pace up the front meant Bryn Jones couldn't make up the time lost in stage 2. He did beat Stokes in stage 8 to take 4 power stage points and take third for the day.
And for Bryn, after a troubled 2 opening rounds to the championship, he'll be happy to have put some solid points on the board.
Right over crest ahead, 50. 6 right minus. Left over 120, half 6 right on. 100 flat small crest.
He'd overcome Mackesy in the R2T Fiesta. While it has the same 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine as the Rally 4 car, this version is short on power, worth noting that Tim Mackesy's current Fiesta is a few years older than Thompson and Jones. So in the end it was Thompson first, Stokes just 37 seconds behind in second, ahead of Jones and Mackesy.
Fired it off the road like 3k's on the end, but lucky the farm had his gate open, so we just went through the safety tape, turned around and come back out. But I think we lost like 12 or 14 seconds or something. And then including the time from last night as well, it just all equated up. So had a bit of a battle on our hands, but after the first 3 stages after service, we had it went back and yeah, had a ball.
It's the run to home over the afternoon stages for the 4-wheel drive cars. Can anyone put a dent in Hayden Paddon's lead? Welcome back to the Transport World Southern Lights Rally, round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. As the afternoon stages began for the Category 1 competitors, tactics began to play a part in the picture. With Paddon having missed round 1, his only option is to win every event and power stage in the championship to defend his title.
Slippy 100, cut half, 6 left minus.
And this looks like the stages we've seen so far this morning, but we go over an intersection just up here. And look at that, the road changes completely. This is a tricky forestry stage.
The following drivers, like Robbie Stokes, have a major points advantage.
And what's really important for Robbie is to keep in front of Ben Hunt. That battle's going to be huge. But what's even more important is making sure that he's there at the finish to bank points every time.
It was not 100.
Lucky to get away with that one, Robbie. This stage also features a slow zone where the clock stops and competitors can pass through below 40 kilometres an hour. There's a particularly tricky section up here. It's a chance for the drivers to stop and reset.
Hopefully they put that in the NZRC coverage.
Don't worry, we've got you, Robbie.
5 right and go at the blue.
The same goes for Ben Hunt, Jack Hawkswood and Emma Gilmore. The fight for the championship is going to come down to which driver scores the most top 3 finishes.
And within that, who can finish in front in those top 3 battles? Although Ben doesn't know Robbie's made that mistake, this is a stage he's absolutely targeted from the recce, one that he knows that he can do incredibly well in and try and push that gap over Stokes. Impressive performance from Stokes though, 2.9 seconds faster than Hunt.
Stage 8 was the power stage, and our second feature stage of the day. With 5 bonus points for a win here and points down to 5th place, these power stages will be critical in the outcome of the championship. It's a short 10.5 kilometre sprint, and we're close to the start here. So Patton's lead here is irrelevant. This is all about claiming the 5 points for the stage win. His time, 5 minutes 56.8. Ben Hunt was hoping that the afternoon stages would suit the Skoda. Hunt is second for now, with a time of 6 minutes 5.9.
Oh, he's out wide there. You can see there's a bit of gravel on the outside of the corners, so you can't spend too much time out there. You'll just bleed seconds.
Robbie Stokes and Hunt are separated by just a few seconds in the overall results. A stage win here would really boost Stokes' championship lead.
What we do know, though, is that Robbie's still carrying a bit of damage from that off in stage 6.
Opens 120. Finish 500.
Remember, the time to beat is 5:56.8.
God, that must have been fast. Had to have been.
But he's slower, 6:10.4, so third fastest behind Hunt. Next up, it's Jack Hawkswood. At Otago, Hawkswood definitely had the edge over Stokes. This time, it was Stokes who would prevail, Hawkswood finishing 4th, 4.3 seconds back for 2 points.
Still a solid return considering he's nursing a bit of a sick engine, but if he wants to get back in that title fight, he needs to be back on that pace we saw at Otago for the final 3 rounds.
Emma Gilmore next in the WRC2 Citroen. Emma made a co-driver change for this rally, as did Robbie Stokes. So on the other side of the car battle, co-drivers championship is definitely going to favour Tony Rawston, Ben Hunt's co-driver. More on that later, but for now, what can Emma do?
Through finish. Nice.
Gilmore 6 seconds slower than Hawkswood, so 5th at the moment for 1 point. Zeal Jones has made big improvements over the 3 events under the guidance of car owner and co-driver Auntie Waverley. So a stage time of 6 minutes 15.1 bumps Gilmore out of the power stage points and gives Zeal the final bonus points.
And it's an impressive start to the season for Zeal. He's been building up that speed and most importantly, keeping that car on the road.
3 more drivers to compete the stage, and while none of them would challenge the top 5, the battle between them could not have been closer. Reed's time, 6 minutes 40.7.
And just note how neat and tidy Stu's keeping it, right in the wheel tracks, not getting out in all that loose gravel.
Next through, Andy Martin in the VW Polo. So close behind, just 0.7 slower than Reed over the 10.5 Ks.
And Andy's the first to admit that the flat-out, balls-to-the-wall, high-speed stuff is not his forte. He loves a beautiful, flowing bit of road like this.
The last of our 4-wheel drive class runners, Nelson Law in the Mazda 2, formerly campaigned by Jack Hawkswood. 6.4 seconds slower than Martin on the stage, but he still has an 8-second buffer over the VW overall.
And with 2 stages to go, this one's going to go right to the wire. So confirming 5 bonus points for Paddon for that power stage win. Hunt gets 4 for second, 3rd and 3 points for Robbie Stokes. Hawkswood takes 2 points for 4th and a single point for Zeal Jones in 5th.
Stage 9 was a sting in the tail of the event, 18 kilometres long and some absolute fast sections. Hayden Paddon not backing off at all here, and he'd take his second NZRC victory of 2024. But there was no let-up in the battle for second and potentially the lead in the championship. Ben Hunt leaving nothing behind here as he posted a time of 7 minutes 30.5.
And Stokes and Hunt are still the favourite for this title. The equation is still in their hands. They are climbing over each other to be the one that sticks their hand up and says, I'm going to be the champion.
But Stokes was not going to settle for an easy third. He charged through the stage 3.3 seconds faster than Hunt as he tried to close the narrow gap to the Skoda driver. Jack Hawkswood 4th fastest and secures 4th overall. But the battle for 5th still very close. Emma Gilmore under pressure again from Zeal Jones in a battle which had raged all day. In the end, the gap held and Gilmore claiming 5th over Jones, who had fought hard right to the last stage. Stuart Reid would take 7th place.
A solid result for Stu. We think he'd be pretty happy with that, leading this battle pack all day and the first international visitor home.
And the only position change coming on the very last stage, a short sprint around Teretonga, when Andy Martin just pipped Nelson Law by 3.3 seconds to score 8th position.
So confirming Paddon's winning margin just over 3 minutes, while just 7.9 seconds separate Hunt in 2nd and Stokes in 3rd. Hawkswood took 4th ahead of Gilmore, Jones, Reid, Martin and Nelson Law from Vanuatu.
The car once again working really well in the forest, 6.
Yeah, it shouldn't do though. It's more Rally 2 territory. But the AP4, like what Mike and the team have done with the car, for a pretty old car now, and we keep retiring it and we keep bringing it back. In Timaru, it wasn't working so well here. It's been really, really good. So yeah, it's a shame that it's going to get locked up in the shed again now, and we'll bring the Rally 2 back again for the North Island events.
Night rallying, you can't beat it. I absolutely loved it. There was a few corners that we committed to that we probably shouldn't have, and there was a lot of flats that weren't flat. Had a bit of an issue towards the end of it. Gearbox overheated, so the flat out stuff, we were on the limiter about 9 times, I think. Yeah.
So what do you have to do? Just settle it down, cool it down?
Find a gear and get through. So we found a gear, then it went in and we got through.
Yeah, it was another close battle, Otago and Timaru, and now it was good to be on the other side of the battle, but looking forward to going north into some more twisty technical roads.
And in the points, things could not be tighter. Robbie Stokes just 1 point ahead of Ben Hunt. Jack Hawkswood further back, while Hayden Paddon is lurking, ahead of Emma Gilmore, Zeal Jones, and a couple of the two-wheel drive stars Dylan Thompson and Jack Stokes.
The championship takes a break for a couple of months before we head to Palmerston North and an early 4 a.m. start for the Daybreaker Rally. See you then.